Welcome to In Moderation,
the show where we give you a moderate dose of info, sarcasm, and we already know we're not approved. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the podcast. We've been sitting here for the past 45 minutes dealing with technical issues, but we're back on track. We're in here. Rob and I have just been kind of humming that song. What's the name of that song, Rob? What was it? You said it was
Tom's Diner.
Tom's Diner. Whatever, you know, the... Does anybody know the lyrics to that song? Does anybody know the lyrics to that? Because I don't know. I feel like I know the lyrics, but I don't know the lyrics to that song. I've been sitting by a window with my coffee on the table. Like, I don't know what it is, but if you know what it is, put it in the comments, if there is comments. I don't know if we have that. Anyway, we're here on episode, I don't know, 148 or whatever it is. We're
getting up there, apparently, according in Liam's head, anyway.
It's all fucking over the place. It's so bad.
Next episode will be like 1,649.
It'll go back down. No, it's go back down to like 4. All right, we have Gabes on this time. Gabes, why don't you introduce yourself a little bit, because we're not good at that, so you should do it.
Okay, my name is Gabrielle. My nickname's Gabes. I'm a registered dietitian. I've been a registered dietitian for like 3 years. And yeah, I met both of them on TikTok. I like to debunk as well, and I like to talk about gut health and everything too.
Yes, and that is what we're going to talk about today, because Gabes, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to be 100% honest with you. When I'm on the TikTok and I see somebody say, when I see somebody say, hey, I'm here to help out with gut health, literally every red flag. Like all the red flags just
That's when you got to tag red flag guy in that.
I just see that. It's like the ceiling collapses from the weight of all the red flags. That come, because like at the end of the day, we don't really understand so much about the gut microbiome. So when people say they're like, I'm an expert in gut health, I'm like, bullshit, you are. But I actually have watched your stuff and I'm like, oh, actually, she does know some things, and that's awesome. So this episode, I definitely want to talk about gut health and the like actual factual. God, I like that. Actual factual information.
Yeah, I also just feel like that's what kind of sucks for me. I feel like gut health has become something that I would usually be like, I'm not going to listen to this because it's just like a fad. Yeah. But in general, it's just like I work with gastrointestinal diseases, but it's like I understand the gut because of that. I just think people assume gut health is just like, oh, I'm not bloated anymore. When it's like there's so
everybody has IBS these days.
Yeah, it's so great. So last time with Shiloh last week, we talked a lot about fiber. We kind of hit the toilet bowl with the plunger. You know, we weren't backed up with information at all. Everything just went through. Other poop puns that I'm missing. I don't know.
10 out of 10 poop puns right there.
Poop puns, well start off right at the bat. So we talked a lot about fiber, but I definitely want to, talk about some of the other things that's important, like is important with gut health. Rob, where do you think we should start with the gut health? What are you thinking?
I don't know. We could talk leaky gut because, leaky. Everybody is always leaky gut. Leaky gut.
Gabes, what the fuck is up with leaky gut, and why does everyone have it?
Okay, I mean, essentially they have it because essentially leaky gut is just we have good bacteria in our gut, and then we sometimes have bad bacteria in our gut, and that's what we are essentially pooping out at the end of the day. Leaky gut is essentially. It's basically saying the bad gut bacteria, instead of shitting it out or sweating it out, it's saying where your good gut bacteria is.
It leaks into us? It leaks into our bodies? I think it's kind of a nebulous term.
That's the question is, which way does it leak? Does it leak into us or does it leak out the other end?
It leaks everywhere. It's just leaky. It's like there's a sink with so many holes.
I feel like I've learned about this a lot, but I also know it's kind of like, we're not quite sure about really the definition of it. So I kind of just steered away from saying people have leaky gut, because I feel like you can just say anyone has leaky gut, and that just means you have the bad bacteria. You have more bad bacteria than good gut bacteria in your gut.
It seems like one of those things where there's maybe some truth to it in a way, but people just take it and blow it out of proportion. Like, oh, gluten causes leaky gut because people who have, celiac disease or whatever, gluten intolerance, they have issues with it. So everyone has issues. That's what I feel like it is.
Yeah. I feel like it's definitely a term that's medically, it doesn't really exist. It's just this kind of weird symptom that we haven't really defined. But in social media, it's become one of those fear-mongering terms.
It's something you yell about with your shirt off. That's basically what leaky gut is.
Yeah, apparently it's like, so we eat foods. There's a lot of toxins in our foods. There's a lot of toxins literally like right now. We're probably breathing in toxins. And leaky gut essentially is it's going into the bloodstream, not staying in the gut where you can poop it out. Yeah.
Okay, so leaky gut seems kind of nebulous, whatever. I want to go on to, what I want to ask about? Probiotics. Because I get asked about this a lot. And from what I've seen, like if in certain situations, prescribed by your doctor, yada, 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 it can be beneficial. But like for everybody, should all of us right now just be taking probiotics just like every day? What's the deal? What's going on?
No, I think it's hard because there are some like broad spectrum probiotics that have things like, so like yogurt has lactobacillus and bifidobacterium. Those are like the two common probiotics that we do want to have a good amount in our gut. So there are more like broad spectrum ones that are just basic, so they're not really going to do anything. But there's also just like thousands of strains of probiotics that all have different purposes. And without understanding what's going on with your own gut microbiome, just taking a random probiotic might not help you at all. There's just so many different strains, and you need to see, are they digesting their foods well? Oh, do they have an issue with gluten? Do they have an issue with dairy? And then we kind of look into, I just don't really feel like probiotics is like really the first thing you would ever need to start with for your gut health. There's so many other things to look at first.
I know personally, whenever somebody asks me, I tell them the only time I would personally ever take a probiotic is if I am prescribed antibiotics, because antibiotics wipe out your gut microbiome. And obviously probiotics help to kind of restore that. With that, I want to emphasize, people who have never done this before, never take them at the same time. Because if you do, the antibiotics just wipe out the probiotics, right?
That'd be,
you take them like at least spaced 2 hours apart. Like usually a run of antibiotics, you'll take like 2 a day. So, you take your antibiotic in the morning, you take your probiotic at noon, antibiotic at supper, probiotic before bed, whatever. But that's about the only time I would ever
I will say the fucking packaging though looks impressive AF. Okay. Because like I look at the back of the probiotics and it's like 70 quadrillion dillion strains of whatever it is. Like it looks impressive and it better look impressive since it's like $60 or some shit per bottle. Like, God, especially when you get those fancy ones. Holy shit. Yeah. I'm just going to pass on the probiotics for the most part, maybe in certain situations.
Like, Seed, the one Bobby approves of.
It's got like a shell around it that protects it.
Yeah, it's got the shell around the shell. And it's like, that's another question we get often is that even necessary? Do the bacteria die in the stomach, the probiotics die in the stomach, or what's up with that?
I don't even know if we know. I think if we are taking a probiotic, we should just do an extended release one, because when we're eating anything, our stomach acid is going to release. And if that can impact, our stomach acid could kill the bacteria by the time it gets to your small intestine and large intestine. So I feel like just taking an extended release while we are still researching is smart. I think for the antibiotic thing, yes, we are essentially the antibiotics. Any good gut bacteria you have, the antibiotic can't decipher between what you have going on and the good gut bacteria, and it's just you're going to try to kill everything. So taking a probiotic after is good, but the whole dying in the stomach acid, it makes sense to me. I just don't really think we have like evidence to completely conclude that either.
Okay. What about fermented foods though? Because I always hear like it seems like the more is from what I've seen, the stuff that we're learning that fermented foods are good for our gut, can create our probiotics in their own way. What's the relationship with gut health and fermented foods? What do you got? What do you got for me?
I love like kimchi, sauerkraut. Fun fact, those don't have fiber in them. I was making a video yesterday about fiber, and I was looking at my sauerkraut, and I don't know why I wasn't sure. Like, no, it's like less than 1 gram, but it has it basically is like prebiotics feeding the good gut bacteria. So probiotics are the good gut bacteria. Prebiotics are the food for the probiotics. So we want to nourish the environment in our gut. And by eating fermented foods, we can do that. A lot of times, though, people are buying like sauerkraut that isn't in the fridge. And
right.
Bacteria is alive. So if you want it to be actually beneficial for you, then you want to at least get it when it's in the fridge. Like it should have, like it needs to be at a certain temperature in order for the bacteria.
So yeah, what's your favorite fermented food?
I actually like kombucha.
Kombucha, man, I'll tell you,
kombucha's
a weird one, because even the people that like kombucha, I feel like we can all agree that like we're weird, right? Like kombucha has this taste to it, this kind of strong, I don't know if bitter is the right word. It's potent. Whatever it is, it's very strong, and it's something you kind of have to get used to. And I've kind of adjusted to it over time, but at first you kind of have to hate it. I feel like, right?
Yeah,
I agree. Yeah.
I actually just got a new one that was blue and I liked it, and it helps me, but I also know it, like some people, it's just so hard to be like, oh, let's drink some kombucha. It's going to make me have a healthy gut. And some people just don't need those type of bacteria that's in the kombucha. And then they just like boil it all day.
Is there anything you would tell people for what type of kombucha to look for? Or is it just like pick your favorite?
Which one do I get? I honestly just get whatever.
Whatever's on sale. For me, it's whatever's on sale. Whatever's in the clearance section.
Like, I think it is a lot of times with gut health too. It's like nutrition in general. If you're in like the mindset, like, oh, this is good for me. Oh, I'm going to feel like, especially gut health, actually, like, oh, this is going to make me feel good. It's going to make me happy. All this stuff. Your body's not stressed. So you're automatically like, oh, I'm going to take a sip of kombucha and my gut health, my bloat is completely gone. It's just like all in your head.
It's placebo, man. The placebo effect is so strong.
It is. Absolutely.
I love it. If we ever make a drink, we should say it's probiotic, prebiotic, and a whole bunch of other things. It doesn't matter if it is or not. People will believe that shit will work.
Liam's prebiotic, probiotic, cleansing, liver cleansing tincture.
And no, anti-inflammatory 100% has to be on there.
Right?
Yeah.
Fights leaky gut.
There you go.
Crazy. Like anything in nutrition, a lot of times it's just people have the mindset. Like, okay, when it comes to gut health, if you are stressed about eating a food, like for instance, if you have like disordered eating or eating disorder and you're stressed about eating a potato, you're automatically going to feel like shit when you eat the potato because you're in fight or flight mode. But if you're eating a potato and you're like, oh, this is good for me, this is satiating, this has fiber in it, this has nutrients in it, you're going to feel better. The second you're in a stress mode, it impacts your gut. And
how much do you think the kind of your mindset plays into your gut health? Because I feel like it's like obviously everything's connected, yada yada, but like how much do you feel like stress and all that plays into people's gut health?
That is like honestly the biggest thing I think impacts our gut health. Like I even noticed it in the slightest bit. Like if I'm really stressed or if I'm like sitting down for a meal, but I'm also standing up and I'm also doing like 18 other things, I never feel good after it because I don't even know how much I just ate. And I'm also just not even enjoying the food or thinking about it. Like your digestion really does, it technically starts in the mouth, but it also starts in your brain. Like once you start
I like that.
Yeah.
Your body's like, hell yeah, we're about to get food. And that's how it thinks. And if you're just automatically fearful of every single food, you're not going to feel good from eating it.
I want that on a mug too. Digestion starts in the brain. I like that. Starts in the brain.
But there's an interesting thing with people say that, artificial sweeteners spike insulin, which we know they don't. But the reason that they might in some people is because of that brain connection. Right. They're thinking, yeah, this is something sweet. They're thinking, yeah, this is going to spike my insulin. They're equating it to sugar, and the brain's triggering to pre-release some of that insulin in preparation for it. I've seen that
even with like gut bacteria. For some people, like where it's even shifted the gut bacteria, it's like their brain is like I'm because they tell them like I'm getting this artificial sweetener, so I feel like it's going to.
That's so interesting. I didn't think about it with the artificial sweetener aspect.
It's artificial sweetener. Oh yeah, no. This if you haven't heard, Gabes, that's the reason everyone's dying and has cancer.
Well, I've heard about that, but I haven't heard about the impact of like just thinking about it. But it really is like the gut-brain axis. I think we've all heard about that. I really think that impact on things.
So like, yeah, you said, I like that you said stress. So like, what are like, I don't know, top 3, like 5 tips you would give for just like, I'm an average person, I'm listening to you, I'm just like, I just kind of want to be overall healthy and like, I want to have good gut health. Like, what should I do? Like, what are a few things that I can just kind of do in my day to day that might help me out?
Okay.
So you said stress less. Is that number 1?
Yeah.
Is number 1 stress less?
Okay. Yeah.
Don't worry, be happy.
It's not even like, oh, I'm stressed about like work. Oh, I'm stressed because like my boyfriend or something. Like, it's like your body's in a stress state. So it could be people like in the hospital that like their mind, they're not like stressed about something, you know, minuscule. They're stressed, their body's in an inflammatory state. But okay, basic, think about digestion as, okay, it starts in the brain and it ends when you poop. So if you aren't fixing anything that's like above it, so you have your brain, your mouth, your esophagus, your stomach, your small intestine, your large intestine, if you're not fixing anything above it, by the time it gets to anything else, it's not gonna, if you're screwing it up over here, like it's gonna be messed up by the time you get it. So like, 1, slow down, like literally just slow down. People are so, especially like in America, we're all just like, we have to do this and this and this. And like no one like sits down and eats and relaxes. Like literally just take a breather, like cook the food, enjoy the food, smell the food, think about like sensory aspects of the food. Why do you like the food? Why is this food? Do I have a carb? Do I have a fat? Do I have a protein? Just like think about things like other than everything else. And then when you sit down, like no one chews their food. They're just like swallowing giant chunks of food. Like I'm a really slow eater in general, but sometimes when I eat with people, I'm like,
me too.
The food's gone in 2 seconds and I'm by myself.
I mean,
yeah, like I'll go do all you can eat buffet with my family or something. I'm still on plate 1 when they're on plate 3.
Yeah, I feel like in like the blue zone, so you look at like the blue zones where people, you know, longest living people, largest number of people in the hundreds, they all like sit together as a family, you know, like when it's dinner time, they eat for like an hour and they just like talk and, you know, over dinner.
They socialize over food.
Yeah, it's not like us where I'm like, I got to get in my car, so I'm going to shove the whole burrito in my mouth and then I'm just going to chew it while I'm driving.
Yeah, and it's sad. Like none of us, I mean, I work and there's not really, I can't wait to like not be, I love my job, but like I do eat at my desk and I try to be as mindful as I can, but it's hard because it's like, I don't want to sit in the cafeteria and eat. So it's definitely hard in like certain situations, but I definitely don't, I try not to eat in my car because it's just not enjoyable. Like I like to sit down and have meal. And I think that's one of the things too, when we have like people being like, oh, when I'm in Europe, I do this and this and this. It's just so much different in Europe. Everything is so much different. Like I lived there for a year and like you sit down and you eat a meal together for like 45 minutes. Or longer.
Yeah, you like, walk more, which I know like walking helps, aids in digestion. Like you're eating smaller meals generally, like their portions aren't as big. There's a lot of things going on. It's not just like our horrible ingredients that are ridden with pesticides or whatever that people come up with.
Yeah. This whole thing plays into a lot of what we talk about, how stress really affects all of this stuff. It's not just the food. It's not just the exercise. It's not all that. It also is the stress level that people are going through and the community aspect as well, you know, sitting down, enjoying time with people.
Yeah. The last thing you want to do if we're already stressed because we're all like trying to pay for all of the things we have to pay for and, you know, relationships and everything, like the last thing you should be stressed about is food, which is like easier said than done. But it's honestly like the best feeling in the world to not be stressed about food and like know what your body needs and understand it, because when you're stressed about it, you're just automatically going to feel like shit all the time.
Okay, like, so I'm stressing less about food. What am I doing after that? Gabes? What am I'm stressed less. Now what do I do? Well, I'm freaking out because I don't know what to do next. Holy shit, I just counteracted step 1. Damn it.
Okay, you chew your food. Not to the point of like being disgusting like a smoothie, but to the point where you're not like swallowing it and you're like, oh, that was probably like a whole like part of chicken. Like you want to like
chew thoroughly.
You don't want to recognize it as it's going down your esophagus. The less
enjoy the mouth feels.
Yeah, because like think about it. If you're just swallowing like chickens, then you're by the time it gets to your stomach, you're just filled with like a chicken wing. Like it needs to have some work already done for it by the time it gets to the stomach and small intestine.
Okay. So I'm stressing less. I'm chewing my food thoroughly. What am I doing next?
Okay. Let me think.
Well, what about like my meal? Like, what am I looking for? And, give me a little quick tip. Like, what should I be looking for on my plate here?
Okay. Look at your plate. Understand. I always just do the my plate method. I think that's like the best way, or like the healthy Harvard plate or whatever they want to call it. Basically, half your plate should be vegetables. I try to do like 2 different colors because it's prettier and it makes it more enjoyable, but it also...
Well, there you go.
I like it.
That's a simple thing,
Yeah. Pick 2 colored vegetables, put them on your plate. A quarter should be protein. It can be any protein. I don't care. And then it
has to be a pretty protein.
I want it to look good.
And then a quarter should be grains, and it can be, I like white rice, but it can also be like a whole grain if you want more fiber. But if you're getting fiber in your diet elsewhere, then, it's fine. Just make sure you actually like the food.
Yeah, enjoy your food.
Yeah. And then drink enough water.
Right, yeah. I was going to ask.
Water. And that helps our digestion as well. And you're not going to drink enough water to dilute your digestive enzymes, because that's just dumb. I don't understand that.
They don't understand it. They just yell it because it sounds scary, okay?
Yeah.
Like your hydrochloric acid's probably fine if you drink some water. Like you can have a couple sips like in your meal. It's not going to be the end of the world.
It's almost like you can create more and bring the acidity level back up.
Yeah. So drink more water. I would say another thing is if people are having like a lot of stomach issues and they're feeling like they're really bloated or they're just feeling like shit, like, okay, no one's going to take caffeine out, but like carbonated drinks are just going to add more air into your stomach. So if you're already like bloated and gassy, just drinking carbonate is not really helpful.
Yeah.
Because I know people will ask, like, are other drinks, so, like, I can have, like, a flavor enhancer in the water, or you could do, like, some juice, or, like, I don't know, milk, or whatever it is, or kombucha. No, that's carbonated. Fuck. Damn it. You can't have that. Never mind. Forget that one.
Focus on water.
People ask, is there a reason why you shouldn't drink sodas or anything like that? The 2 reasons would be simply the acidity wearing down the enamel of your teeth. Make sure you brush your teeth. And
listen, don't look at me when you say that. I know I don't brush my teeth ever, okay? It's not, I have good genetics. I rely on that. Leave me alone.
And the other thing being that excessive consumption of carbonated beverages is going to make you gassy because it's got gas in it.
Yeah, they get me every time. I've had like companies send me energy drinks and they're like, please. I'm like, okay. Like they're not, like, they're fine. But like, I'd rather have like an electrolyte stick or something, but then I'll just get it and then I have them because like everyone feels tired every once in a while. So I'll drink it and I'm immediately like, yeah, I shouldn't have done that. Like it immediately makes my stomach like cramp up. I can't
so
do
yeah,
it.
basically find what works for you. Find what troubles you. Yeah, I've got that exactly.
And like, and every product's gonna be different too. It's not necessarily like, carbonation in general is going to cause air, but there are some products that are probably going to be better for you than others.
Movement? Just because I've seen that a lot. Like it can help with like gastric emptying. That's a tough word to say. Like just like a small walk after dinner stuff. I see that happen in a lot of different cultures. They walk after eating.
Yes, absolutely. Walking after eating is going to help your digestion. If you're just sitting around, your digestion's like going to be automatically slowed down.
Okay, so you're saying the large DiGiorno pizza I ate with a soda and then sat around and watched Game of Thrones season 8 because I hate myself. That wasn't good for that was bad. That was bad for digestion.
That's for digestion. Good for mental health.
And it's worse for everything. And watching season 8 Game of Thrones is horrible for my mental health. Why did you have to no, I'm not getting onto that train. It's fine. It is what it is.
Need that, and then other times it does make you feel really like garbage. So a good mix of both. Walking definitely always will make someone feel better.
That's one of the reasons that somebody can vomit when they're exercising is they had a big meal and then they go exercise, and the exercise is taking blood away from the stomach because you need the blood in the muscles and stuff, and your stomach needs blood as part of the digestion process.
That's the worst. Have you ever had a big ass meal and then went to the gym? It's awful. It's terrible.
Yeah. the opposite too. Like people that aren't feeling hungry after they work out, that's because half your all your blood's in your muscles. It's not even like in your gut. It's not focused on your gut right now, so you're not even thinking about food. I'm never hungry right now.
You got the sympathetic system. Was that fight or flight? And then parasympathetic system, rest and digest. I remember the basic words from middle school or whatever it is.
So S for stress. Sympathetic is stress, fight or flight. Parasympathetic is rest and digest.
Yes. So, Yeah,
that's...
Need a little bit of mixed ball.
Bullshit when I talk about that, and they're like, like they'll ask me about gut health, and I'm honestly just like, that is where it starts, honestly. Think about like when you're traveling too, when you travel, your body's under stress. And whenever, like, if I'm traveling, like my gut is, I always bring like more good things for me. Like I always pack like fruits and vegetables or something so I can at least have it.
Really good.
Because whenever I travel, my body's like, what the hell is going on? Like your whole routine's off. Like what? Yeah.
Aren't you like, so when you travel, you're eating different foods, right? Too? Because you're going to eat a whole bunch of different things that you're not used to. So obviously your gut's be like, what the fuck is this? And then you're also stressed out probably because you're traveling. So it feels a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, your body's like, where's my bed? Where's my toilet? Where's like everything? Where's my cat?
Don't like pooping away from home.
I like that we both went the cat.
I love my cat.
Then there's Liam over here with the dogs.
Listen, dogs all the way, okay? Yes, you have to pick up their poop, but it's not that big. Well, I guess you can pick up cat poop as well. It's just in a box.
That's why I don't have dogs.
Okay, so all right. So I'm stressing less. I'm drinking water. I'm trying to get a balanced plate as much as I can. Chew your food thoroughly. Go for a walk afterwards. I'm just trying to round everything out. So people who already forgot from 5 minutes ago. Is that pretty much sum it up? Is there anything else you're thinking of? I'm just saying, anything else out there thrown your way?
I think just focus on your food more and eat sitting down a lot more. Basic and slow, like the simplest thing you can do for,
I like it. Okay, now I need to go back to what I told you earlier. What's up with these fucking dragon fruit things that I'm seeing with people who are like eating these whole dragon fruit seeds or whatever, and then they're shitting their brains out? Like I've been seeing a few of that around, and apparently it's like they also poop out parasites, which are also just the seeds that they've eaten. Like there's so much to it. It's like got levels. It's got levels of nonsense to it that I love and hate. So what's up with the seeds and the fiber thing? Go ahead.
Okay, I made a video about that and it did really well. And honestly, it's like any other fruit and vegetable. Like, okay, we have soluble fiber and insoluble fiber.
Right.
The soluble fiber bulks up our stool. It dissolves in water. It's like oatmeal. But then we have insoluble fiber that does speed up digestion more, and it absorbs water, and it doesn't absorb water. No, it absorbs water. I'm sorry. Okay, that was messy. It absorbs water. Okay. The seeds and the skins, like all fruits and vegetables are automatically going to have both those fibers, and no one needs to know the difference between any of those for the most part. Like, just eat fiber.
Yeah, we went over this last week. Just get both. It's fine. Whatever. Just eat.
It's both fruits and vegetables have both.
Yes.
But the skins and the seeds have more insoluble fiber, and insoluble fiber is what can, if you're constipated, that's what helps you go to the bathroom more. So the people that are eating all the seeds and those fruits, one, they probably aren't used to eating a whole fruit at once because you're eating the entire fruit. It's like a whole trend. Like you eat the whole fruit. That's a lot more fiber than you're probably getting in one sitting in general. But you're also eating all the seeds that have all the insoluble fiber. So yeah, it's just causing you to, your body's like, I'm not used to this. And then you have diarrhea because it's a lot more insoluble fiber because there are more seeds in it essentially.
Your butt is like, hey, remember that dragon fruit you ate? Well, we're going to go spit fire now.
Yeah, and it's always like in the comment section, people are like, I know what I'm doing with my weekend. I'm like, what is your idea of fun? Like, this is very strange, but I guess some people are just real backed up.
Hey, they're on TikTok. Their idea of fun is sitting on the toilet, scrolling TikTok.
They're probably constipated on the toilet, right? And they see this. They're like, oh, I know what I'm doing.
Yeah, I don't know why people want to do that. I think they just assume they're just assuming they're bloated, but they might not be bloated. I mean, it's just like, I don't know. Like if you go to the bathroom and you really just feel like it's not satisfying and there's still something in there, you probably are constipated. Like you can go to the bathroom every single day, but you're still constipated if you're feeling like you're not going.
I think that's good advice. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, it's like, go to the doctor. Like, or just Miralax, honestly, just try it. Like, it's like, that's such a common thing. And like, I don't want people to be taking like Miralax every day, but like, it's little things like that. And I think a lot of people just aren't getting enough fiber. So if you're really just feeling like shit, it can help. The other thing though is like people with like inflammatory bowel disease, IBD, a lot of people, or like diverticulitis, they don't necessarily need more fiber. And like sometimes people need to eat more bland and like peel. That's why people might say like peel the skin on the fruit, peel the skin on the potato, because the potato skin and everything's going to be more insoluble fiber. It's just going to add more fiber and you don't need it. And like cooking your vegetables, a lot of people don't do well with raw veggies because your body has to break it down. So if you cook it, it's kind of breaking it down a little bit more for you, and it's a little like gentler on your GI tract.
I've had a lot of people ask me for like, hey, I have IBS, I have Crohn's, I have all these different things. And I'm like, I'm not an expert in this. And also everyone's different. So I feel like you should talk to your doctor. Do you have any just kind of like, just general tips? So like cook your vegetables, maybe try something like peeling fruits or vegetables, anything?
I mean, when it comes to IBD, like one, go get diagnosed if you have it. Cause like you are either going to start out on a medication or they're going to have you on, if you're like in a flare up, you need to be on a very bland diet. So bland diet, like brat diet that I don't know if everyone really knows about, but like the brat diet when we were sick. So just like rice, bananas, apples, like very bland food. You're picking like white rice, white pasta, white bread, because if it's white, it doesn't have fiber in it.
So food that doesn't look pretty.
Yes. Just eat very bland boiled potatoes, plain chicken breast, things like that. Things that are not going to cause any movement or anything in your body, like just bland. But when you're not in a flare up, you do need fiber. So it's very tricky. And like even people that are diagnosed are just so confused because people are like, oh, well, yeah, eat the Mediterranean diet, eat that, it's good. And they're like, well, aren't I not supposed to eat seeds and nuts? I'm like, well, it depends if you're in a flare up or not. If you're in a flare up, bland. If you're not in a flare up, you do want to eat like a balanced, nutritious diet. So it really is like, that's the biggest thing. It's like, it's so hard to be on social media and try to give advice when you know nothing about someone. So all the questions and stuff, it's like, it really depends. Like
I feel like I have to answer that so much. People ask me like, what about this? Okay, so I have this incredibly rare disorder that causes these incredibly rare conditions. What should I do? And I'm like, oh, I wouldn't even know where to start. Talk with your doctor. Like, I'm sorry. I don't. This is social media.
Well, that's exactly where you start is talk to your doctor.
Talk to your doctor. I'm sorry. I can't help out. I'd love to. I just can't.
Yeah. And like, I'll get a lot of people saying like, if I talk about gluten or something like that, they'll be like, oh, I'm allergic to gluten. And then I'm like, are you a celiac? And I never can really get over that barrier because I just feel like sometimes like the terminology is confusing. So like, I never really know if it's like, oh, I took a food sensitivity test online and it said I was allergic to gluten.
Yeah, we've gone over those.
Yeah.
So it's like, I just think it's hard for people to like grasp the fact that like anyone that's on the internet telling you like this is how you should eat doesn't know what they're talking about.
Really?
Because it's like,
I mean, honestly,
not one way. It's dangerous.
Yeah, any real dietitian or nutritionist or anybody that's talking about food, any real one is going to always answer, it depends on the person.
There's nuance, people. Jesus.
That's how it works. And also, like, we have a license. Like, we're trying to not, like, jeopardize anything. We're not trying to hurt anyone. And I feel like people that are just saying, oh, this is how you do it. It's like...
Well, no, that just means you're part of the government mind control.
Yeah, I care about no one but all the money I'm getting.
Yeah.
Which,
how much money have you guys gotten from Big Pharma? I just opened my check last week, and holy shit, there's so many zeros.
Yeah.
Like all zeros?
It's just all zeros. Like some people
all
are
zeros.
zeros. If there was only a single different number, I'd be in the green.
Right? You know, like a nice 1 at the start of those zeros or a 2.
Oh gosh.
I can't even talk about it. That causes stress.
Yeah, like even that reaction to gluten, that could simply just be psychosomatic from somebody stressing over eating something that contains wheat.
Exactly. And the Europe thing versus
America,
like we do like have different wheat We use harder as a higher gluten content. In Europe, they use soft wheat. But trust me, you are eating pasta every single day if you are living in Italy. Like, you are eating it, and it has gluten in it. So if you have celiac disease, you can't eat it. But it is interesting, though, just the difference between like soft and hard wheat and how one has less gluten than the other. But
even like within those recipes, a lot of the pasta might end up being made with the hard wheat anyway, or like durum wheat does have plenty of gluten in it. Like, it's not magically gluten-free or anything. And the softer wheats are usually used for like pastries and stuff, just because, again, less gluten. You don't need it as much in a softer pastry.
Yeah, and it's just like everything else in our diet. Like, I mean, a lot of people are just not eating right, so they're just not going to feel as good. But I think it's like people assume that if I eat gluten-free, it's healthier, when it's like, I think it's kind of goes into the whole demonizing carbs thing, and people not really understanding what carbs are and not understanding what gluten is. So they're just putting them all in the same category. Like, oh, it's carbs, it's bad. When it's like, no, carbs are like fruit, carbs are milk. Like,
if you haven't seen it, I highly recommend looking up the South Park gluten episode. It's so great.
That was so good.
It just makes your dick fly off. Like, that's literally what it is. You eat gluten, it just makes your dick fly off into the sunset. Like, nobody realizes what's in it. People are eating soy sauce and drinking beer. Like, yeah, fucking gluten sucks. That's why I avoid it. And like they have no idea. It's so great. Like, people are just like, it
was an amazing episode.
Oh, I love that one.
Every time I work with like newly diagnosed celiac patients all the time, or I also like just work with people that are like, yeah, I took out gluten because it makes me feel better. I'm like, okay, what is gluten to you? Because have you looked at like your condiments? Like, if it's just bread, if the answer is bread, then we need to go in a little deeper, because it is in everything.
But and so, okay, here I have this theory, basically. Like, okay, so we always demonize something, right? And so we're gonna take gluten for an example, right? So people say, I'm gonna remove all gluten. So what do they eat less of? Cookies, cakes, like all of the those ultra processed delicious foods, muffins, whatever it is, and then they feel better and they're like, oh, it's because of the gluten, when really they just started eating more of a balanced diet. But this is where, like, and I think we all agree on that, but this is when companies are like, oh, people are eating gluten-free, so we're going to make gluten-free Oreos, we're going to make gluten-free muffins, we're going to make gluten-free bread, we're going to make all these things gluten-free, and then people start eating those, and then they just, again, their diet becomes less balanced and they feel like shit. And so we have to move on to the next thing now we have to figure out what the next thing that's killing us, so that we'll then eat a more balanced diet. It always just comes back to that. It's just a fucking
cyclic thing. I
don't even know why companies would do that. It's more expensive for them, and also like, it's like, honestly, for your gut health, like eating gluten like snack like foods, those like gums and stuff, we're not really sure. Like, they could cause like an issue for people with like IBD. They can also just like make you not feel good. Like, I know they cause a lot more like gas and stuff for me. Like, I don't do them usually, but like they put fillers in it to mimic bread or mimic the texture.
Well, they have to give it that texture.
Exactly. And it's like fairly better for you. You're just putting more additives in it. It's like same with like dairy-free milk. Like, it's not that it's bad for you, but it's also just like, you don't really need to have the gums in it when you could just be drinking milk from a cow or eating
And I think
bread.
it really depends on the person, because like with gums and stuff, I've never had a problem. I've used like xanthan gum and guar gum and things. I have no problems. Then again, I can eat like 100 plus grams of fiber and eat basically anything and be totally okay. But other people, you have some gums or whatever, and like I've talked to people and like, that destroys my gut. I'm like, yeah, so I would not recommend that.
Yeah.
I had literally 2 packages of those Smart Sweets today.
Yeah, I know.
Just by myself.
It's
2
like
entire
40-something grams of fiber.
Yeah.
Oh, are those the gummies?
Yeah.
I meant to look those up. Interesting.
Well, no, so the gummies, so the sugar-free gummy bears use maltitol and stuff like that, which is sugar alcohols, and that fucks people up for a different reason. The Smart Sweets and the Lily's gummies is high in fiber, and that fucks people up because people are eating like 10 grams of fiber in a day, and then you triple that with one package. So everything's fucking, like, it's just...
My body just does better with fiber from real food than like...
Yeah.
or added to fiber.
A lot of people in my comments say that to me. Like, it's as soon as I try those like fiber added things, whether it's a greens powder or whatever. Oh, that's what we got to talk. Gabes, can you tell everyone just to avoid the greens powder? I need backup because I go after greens powders a lot, and people come after me. Not a lot. Like, most people are on my side, but there's some people that are not. So I need you to tell them to fuck off, and that greens powders are dog shit, and they should avoid them. Please go ahead.
Oh man,
in your own terms.
Shit if you drink greens powder or not, but don't think it's going to do anything for you. It's just you're drinking water.
It's a fucking vitamin. Like, holy shit.
I need to drink water.
So funny enough, when I was talking to Brian Littlefield of Jocko Fuel about our upcoming 25th episode, which, spoiler alert, Jocko Fuel is sponsoring a giveaway for our 25th episode.
That's so
coming
fun.
up here. Yeah. And everybody who is a member of our Patreon is automatically entered. You don't even have to buy a membership on the Patreon. That includes the free people. Everybody that's a member of our Patreon, we're just going to randomly select one member to receive this gift package when we go to record our 25th episode, which will be at the end of the month here.
It's a button.
But I was talking to...
Click it. Like, it's not even... I know you're lazy, but goddamn, guys. Like, go, like, click. Okay, now I'm entered. That's all you got to do. It's not hard.
All you got to do,
Jesus.
you know? So I was talking to Brian, and one of the things we talked about was greens powders. And we were talking about, like, if the first ingredient on the list of these green powders is soy lecithin, it's garbage.
Just a filler.
It's just filler. Yeah.
I will say I do have, like, I've never bought greens powder, but I do like Jocko Fuel stuff. And I got greens powder from them because I was curious, and it tastes really good. And it's the first ingredient is not soy lecithin. I think the issue with a lot of the greens powders is the whole proprietary blend, where they're just a bunch of random shit in there, and it's like small, and it's not really doing anything. But I also will say, when I traveled, I went to travel and like visit my friend, and it's been a long time since I've like had other people feed me where I like don't really have much control, and I wasn't
like,
eating
by a fork, by like hand, or just like they just say open up and they say here you go,
shoving it in there.
Come on.
No, I'm not gonna go in their fridge and like start eating carrots. Weird. So like I wasn't eating as many veggies, and I did have it with me, and like trust me, I wasn't really getting a lot of vegetables, but like the mindset, that's where it comes in again. So it's like sometimes if you want to waste your money on a greens powder and it's going to make you feel better, like go for it. But it's also just like understand that it's probably, well, it's definitely not the equivalent to like fruits and vegetables.
Not even close. Like it's a different stratosphere. Like holy shit.
Yeah.
And if it's got proprietary blends on it, throw it in the trash.
I will never buy anything that says proprietary blend on it. For anybody listening, proprietary blends, just they have like a number, a big number. It's like 8,000 milligrams, and then they got 8,000 things below it. So it's like 1 milligram of each. It's nonsense.
Yeah, like I'm going to go ahead and call out Athletic Greens here, because like
you look bullshit.
if you ever look at their thing, I know off the top of my head they've got the mushroom proprietary blend, and it's like all of these mushrooms. And the entire thing is like 2 grams, 3 grams, one or the other. And the effective dose of shiitake mushrooms alone is 1 to 2 grams. So the entire mushroom complex is 2 grams. There's no way you can have an effective dose of the shiitake mushrooms and all these other mushrooms.
Yeah, no, they're honest picking things that are like whatever's up and coming, whatever they want to talk about. Like, Zang, spirulina, kale, I don't know.
Fucking cordyceps, like you become fucking The Last of Us. It's nonsense. It's bullshit is what it is.
And put them in there, and like the longer the list, it's just so scary. But there's a reason why there's like research on each of those ingredients. There's a clinical dose to have the effect that they're like claiming. It just doesn't make sense.
And it's always a minuscule amount on the thing compared to what the effective dose is. It's not, and it costs like $150. Who is buying this? Who has all of this money but no brains? How are they still in business? I have so many questions when it comes to Athletic Greens, and people still defend them. I went after them. I had somebody stitch me and go, it's for athletes, not for you, dummy. And I'm like, get fucked. These athletes, yeah, they have money. That's why they buy it, because they have fucking money and no brains to go along with it. It's bullshit. Athletic, I can't bloom athletic greens.
Yeah.
If you can't get my nuance, I don't like them. That's basically my point.
Yeah, and then they'll put like probiotics and prebiotics in it. It's like it's fine, but it's just not like you want to waste your money on it. It's just kind of crazy to me because I'm like, sometimes I sit back and I'm like, I could make so much money.
Oh fuck, guys. Listen to me. If I ever sell athletic greens, it's a call for help. I asked me to blink twice. There's someone in my house. I need you to come rescue me. Some shit has gone down.
Gotcha.
But even just like making a supplement, like, or making some like random diet plan, sometimes I'm like, it could be so easy because I just the things people think, and I would never do that to people. But it's like a lot of people that are selling these things have no like nutrition background. They're just business and they're smart. They're just
it's just
selling
fucking money. It's just about making money.
All money. Yeah.
Speaking of making money, there's those gut microbiome tests that some people sell, like the I think it was last episode with Shyla.
Gut microbiome
the 50 cent or the 50 cell brain challenge.
Oh yeah.
50 cell brain
50
challenge.
brain
Whatever
cell
it is.
challenge. It's not that hard. You've already lost all your brain cells. You can't even say what it is.
I've already
It's a
lost
50
them all.
brain cell challenge where you only have 50 brain cells and you lose a brain cell for every ingredient or 2 brain cells, whatever you're coming up with.
Yeah,
it's not that hard.
That guy. I think his name's Josh.
Josh something, whatever.
Josh something. Well, he one of his main things he sells is gut microbiome testing.
Oh, that's smart. That's smart.
Math.
Whatever's in, just sell a test for it. So it's like gut microbiome is in, just sell a test for it. That's genius.
And there is literally no evidence as to what
like
a healthy gut microbiome is supposed to look like. Like, what is what are you measuring it against?
You know what I would start selling, because I know what's going to come in. You know what I'd start selling? Healthy people's poop. Yep, I would totally get like the healthiest people, attractive people too, because they got to be attractive, obviously. And then I would sell their poop, because
I hate to say it, that's actually a thing.
I know it's okay. Anybody listening? No. Poop transplants. I don't know whatever they call them. It's
fecal
a thing.
transplants.
Fecal transplants is 100% a thing, and there actually is like some evidence that like if you take somebody whose guts all fucked up and then you give them the bacteria that's in the poop of the people, and they don't just like shove poop up there.
Yeah, that's for somebody who's like completely fucked up.
Oh yeah. No, so and they put like they distill it down and do things, I don't know, sciencey stuff, and then they put the poop up there with other sciencey things, and then they feel better. But me, I would just be like, listen, I'm just gonna send you a bag of somebody's attractive, healthy person's poop. You throw it up there, and you feel better. I might get in trouble with some FDA or something. I don't know what the deal is with that, but that's gonna. I would make me money. It would make me money.
Oh, so you're supposed to avoid anything with more than 3 ingredients, is what he said.
You're looking up the.
Anything with more than 3 ingredients. So salsa's out. I can't have salsa.
Yeah, pretty much. Anything that has flavor is out.
Okay.
Because every single spice you put in something is an ingredient.
Okay, so can I have mixed spices, Gabes? Or can I only have spices that have 1 spice in them?
Well,
I'm surprised you didn't like highlight. I'm gonna butcher this pronunciation. What's it called?
Carrageenan?
I was looking, like, he didn't highlight that, but he highlighted like everything else.
Normally people go after carrageenan hard. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really hard. Anything like testing wise, you really have to be careful where you're like getting it, because it's sometimes people will like do food sensitivity testing really well or whatever. Like sometimes you just get it and they just assume that you're going to take out everything red, but it's not necessarily one. Like your body might have just reacted to that at a different time in your life, and you just have built antibodies for it and you're fine now. And it's like, that's why I'm saying like chew your fucking food and like stop stressing out, because it's like start there. Like you don't necessarily take out a whole food group.
You need to get like a shirt, Gabes. You need to be like, fuck greens powders, chew your food and relax, motherfucker. Like that's what you need.
All I want people to do, because it has like no one will ever do it.
Oh man.
Forget greens powders, chew your food and sit down, motherfucker. That's what I want. I want that on a t-shirt. I'll buy it. I'll pay for it.
Oh.
or a mug or something. Like, you don't need to take out a food group. You might feel better when you take it out. If you feel better, like, that's fine. But we don't need to take out multiple food groups because then you're going to be missing. Just don't listen to anything just randomly that you're getting. If someone's giving you a test and they can't even explain the test, then I would say don't do it.
No, they told me the test would be good for anti-inflammation and leaky gut. So it's good.
And like I said, there's no evidence as to what you're measuring this against. And people from different areas of the world are naturally going to have different gut microbiomes because they are living ecosystems that diversify based on what you're eating.
I'm telling you guys, we are all this entire podcast really just comes down to teaching people how to make money off bullshit. Like whether it's us or somebody listening, every week they're gonna be like, oh wait, a gut microbiome test, add that to the list, check. And then no greens powders, yup. Food sensitivity, absolutely. And then they're just gonna get rich. That's all.
Make it rain that money.
They're gonna shout us out when they're a fucking millionaire off selling bullshit. They're like, I listened in moderation and they just told me everything I needed to do to make money off of nonsense.
And it's like I would be much better off with more variety in it because there's different nutrients in every food and we want to feed our gut bacteria. If we're not getting enough food, we're not feeding our gut at all. So it's like, why are you taking out, like, I honestly love the name of the podcast. I feel like it probably like upsets some people because every time I say like, oh, eat in moderation, they're like, shut the fuck up. But like, I really do like it. I just feel like people don't get it. Like, I think it's so important.
No.
That's why we made the podcast, so people would sit down, shut the fuck up and get it.
Really, it could be so much simpler for people. And they're just stressing over it and thinking there's like one right way when there's just not. And it's all individual. So
everything ends up being in black and white to a lot of people. They can't see that middle ground that exists.
Yeah, that's like one thing I feel like I learned in like school. I was always so annoyed when I had like, I don't know where you're at in school, Liam, but like case studies for like patients, because you would learn about all these diseases and then you'd get a case study and it'd be like, all of the diseases. And you'd be like, oh my God. So you get really stressed. And then my teacher's like, yeah, it's just not going to be black and white. And it's never, ever going to be black and white. And I was like, okay, noted. It really is just never, nothing.
Nope.
I love that at the end of every podcast, end of every episode, we just end up just like complaining about like the bullshit at the end that we see. It's just like, oh, so here's how to eat in moderation, but here's all the fuck weasels that'll tell you that you have to do this. And it's just us. It's cathartic in a way. It's just being like, fuck those people. I need to say something because it just drives me crazy.
Yeah. And it's like, they're not sure about things. They're just as scared of the food as you are now. Like, they're fearful in their brain, their fear on other people. And it's like, if we're going to be fearing food so much, we're not even helping our gut, one. And your just relationship with food in general. Like, you don't need to be stressed about food. There's not like, oh, I have to eat this, I have to eat this. And like, if I eat this, I'm screwed. You're probably fine. Yeah. Like, people just don't realize how the human body.
I'm going to go right now eat some peanut M&Ms to get my different colors in.
I
got a bag of Skittles right here.
Eat the rainbow. Taste the rainbow. I like peanut M&Ms. I need the peanut in there. It's got that crunch. I like that. I do like peanut M&Ms, best M&M. Let's end the podcast with that. Everybody, if there's one thing you take from that, it's peanut M&M, best M&M. Good night.
Good night. Never mind any other topics that we might have wanted to get to.
Peanut M&M, best
we're
M&M.
done. Peanut M&M, done.